movement then gets your lymphatic fluid flowing. Once your lymphatic fluid is flowing, you feel more energized and you feel like moving. When you move, you produce more lymphatic fluid. So again, a chicken egg cycle. But here's the cool thing. Your largest lymph gland is right below your diaphragm. So when you do deep diaphragmatic breathing, and all you need to do is the breath, lymphatic fluid gets flowing. It gives you energy, you feel like moving, and now we're going to get an experience of it. This breath that we're about to do is called the agni, A-G-N-I, agni breath. This actually means fire, an internal fire. Your agni is that heat that we generate. So as human beings, we're running at 98 degrees. That's almost 100 degrees that we have to keep this fire stoked all the time. So the agni breath keeps that fire stoked. When we do this, the diaphragm goes up and down. The breath is very simple. It's in through the nose and out through the mouth. So in through the nose. Now, it's very easy to go, ha, 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 but it's much harder to go, okay? So that's on the inhale is where you begin to strengthen this muscle of your diaphragm. Your diaphragm, just like your abdominal wall, is a muscle that needs to be exercised. So when we breathe in, on that inhale, the restriction is what causes your diaphragm to actually build. So, in through the nose, out through the mouth. With this, there are some main benefits. The main benefits are, this boosts your immune system. So, especially in today's world, having a strong immune system is really vital. It produces natural endorphins. So, endorphins are your natural antidepressants. Doing this breath or 15 minutes of an aerobic activity, and this breath is 5 times more effective than an aerobic activity, which means you have to do it 5 times less, and you're about to experience that. So that produces a natural antidepressant. 15 minutes of an aerobic activity today is the same as taking a dose of antidepressants. Also, this kicks in your metabolism switch. If your blood is not oxygenated, your metabolism goes low and becomes stagnant. And when you oxygenate your blood, which is what this breath does, your metabolism kicks in. So it's like turning the on switch. It's impossible to lose weight if you don't have a high metabolism. And it's the answer as to why some people can eat anything they want and other people, you know, as I like to say, can look at a donut and gain weight. So really important to keep the breath, the body oxygenated. One more added wonderful benefit. If you do not oxygenate your body during the day, you don't go into deep REMs, sleep at night. So anybody who has sleep issues, you want to really highly oxygenate yourself during the day so that you go into deep REMs at night. If you're sort of awake during the day, then you're sort of asleep at night. And it's about widening out that spectrum so that you're really awake and energized so that you can really sleep. So now we're going to take this agni breath and we're going to put it together with empty coat sleeves. So one more time, if you're not standing, come up into a standing position, get the arm around you, and begin just with the movement side to side. Get your head and neck involved in it too, so that the twist comes up into the cervical spine. And now we're going to begin with the breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Here we go. Ha, 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 and slow it down. Close your eyes. Tune in and feel the effects of the oxygen. You may feel slightly dizzy, a little lightheaded. You may already feel an increase in your heart rate. So I say that this one breath, empty coat sleeves, if everybody were doing this every day, it literally could change the world. I am convinced that many of our autoimmune diseases that we deal with, chronic fatigue syndrome and lower immune systems, are due to the fact that most people do not oxygenate their blood well during the day. So I'm going to give you what I call my breath spiel here for a minute. Just to, again, so that you can see the importance of oxygen. Your blood is mostly water. And if you, like an aquarium, if you imagine an aquarium and you take that bubbler of oxygen out of that aquarium, it takes about a week to 10 days, and that aquarium gets thick and murky and coagulated. The same thing happens with our blood. If we do not oxygenate our blood gets stagnant, coagulates, gets thick and murky. It holds yeast, candidas, viruses, illnesses. AIDS cells, cancer cells cannot live in an aerobic environment. And that's all about oxygen and pumping oxygen into the bloodstream. So many of us don't like doing, myself, the aerobic activities like jogging, don't care for jogging, or swimming long distances, or biking, but you don't have to do those. You just have to do the agni breath and highly oxygenate your blood. You can take yourself out for a walk, and when you're walking, many people actually do aerobic activities but don't actually really breathe deeply. So the importance here is to really breathe deeply. Also, the oxygen content prior to the Industrial Revolution was at 33% on the planet. Since then, so it's been about a little over 100 years, the oxygen content is down to like 17%, 15%, and like 12% in many cities. So that is a huge decrease in the oxygen content on our planet. And we have to breathe deeper and more fully and more often to get the oxygen that our body is really meant to live at. Also, many of us are in stressful jobs. We sit at computers, we clench our jaw, and rarely breathe throughout the day. So taking breath breaks where you really energizes the system. As I told you, I was at Kripalu Center, and many years ago we had a 21-day program called Health for Life. In the Health for Life program, we had people who were coming, who were cancer survivors and dealing with healing from cancer. We had people with weight loss issues. We had people with just wanting to change their lifestyle and their diet. We had people of all walks of life come into this 3-week program. And at the beginning, we took a sample of their blood, and we would put everybody's blood cells up on a wall and see their blood. Blood cells that lack oxygen are very unenergized, and you can see the blood is thick and murky and gunky. And deoxygenated blood cells, they just are sort of shriveled and they are unenergized. After 21 days of everybody, even those people who were dealing with obesity and couldn't get out of their chairs, they could still breathe. They could still and do lots of different kinds of breath. After 21 days, the same blood, those blood cells get bright, they get energized, they clean the blood up, and the blood looks totally different. And you don't have to be a doctor or a scientist to go like, wow, 21 days ago, I was the host of that blood that was sluggish and murky and coagulated. And now I'm the host of this blood that looks happy and energized and clear. Okay, so I tell this to you because this in our head, it's really good to know that whenever we can breathe in and drink in oxygen, we're totally changing the content of our blood. One other thing, science knows this and hospitals know this, but oxygen cannot be patented. So nobody's making money off of oxygen. If you go to Las Vegas, They know this and they pump oxygen into the casinos to keep you awake, to keep you happy, and to keep you spending. Also, you can go to oxygen bars where it'll say, do you have a headache? Are you feeling low energy? Would you like to get rid of a hangover? And you sit down in an oxygen bar and you put on a little oxygen thing in your nose, and you have pina colada flavored oxygen or lemon flavored oxygen, and that oxygen gives you a hit into your system. Also, on the other side, if you get on a plane, they deoxygenate the environment because those oxygen tanks cost money. They try and save money by putting on as little oxygen tanks as possible. And that's why you swell up. That's why you often get sick. That's why you feel tired and get headaches by being on planes, because the oxygen content is really deoxygenated. So, really important as we do this, you're pumping lymphatic fluid in, your butter churn goes up and down, and you are highly oxygenating the blood. We did the agni breath now with twisting to the left and twisting to the right, and now we're going to add 2 more movements of the spine. So we're going to do a lateral to the left and a lateral to the right. With this, can't see my feet, but separate your feet nice and wide, at least a leg's length apart. So again, if you're not in a standing position, come up into a standing position. So a nice wide stance with the legs, and take your right hand and slide it down your right leg and grab right above your right knee. Inhale your left arm up above your head, and then reach over and lengthen the upper side, that upper left side. Your intercostal muscles help bind the rib cage. So stretch open the side, and you're working on a lateral bend, and breathe. Then inhale, reach up and let it float. Let the arm come down to the side. Slide your left hand down your left leg. Grab right above the knee to support the spine. Inhale your right arm up to the sky, then over the head and pulse. Again, feel the stretch in those upper ribs, getting space in the rib cage for more breath. Inhale and float on up, nice and easy. So now with this breath, same breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth, the agni breath, but we're going to call this one the monkey breath. What it looks like is this. You slide down one side, draw the other hand up into the armpit. So join with me. Here we go. And slow it down now. Hang out at one side. Breathe easy. And up and over to the other side. Breathe easy. And back up to center. Heel toe your feet in. And one more time, close your eyes and feel the effects of oxygen coursing through the system. Again, immune system being boosted, natural antidepressants moving through the body, metabolism kicking in. Great. So now we just did 4 of the 6 major movements of the spine. And the major movements are twist to the left, twist to the right, lateral left, lateral right, and we have 2 more 6 major movements. So I'm sure you can probably imagine what they are. They're a back bend and a forward fold. So we're going to add the agni breath now to a back bend and a forward fold. And hopefully you're getting the trick that this agni breath can be added to any movement. With this breath, you want soft, easy knees. Your feet about hip width apart. On your inhale, this is your opportunity for a gentle back bend. Hands come up and you arch back. On your exhale, soft, easy knees, you fold forward, your hands come back like you're about to go off like you're skiing or you're in a ski race. So, and with this, you want your spine to be fluid, like you're cracking a whip or like the tail of a cat, not a flat steel spine. So you want to undulate it as much as possible. So here we go. We're going to slow it down and inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Now I like to imagine as I'm doing the breath that I'm drinking in energy and light and healing and life force and joy. A couple more. And last one. Inhale up. Let your arms float down to the side. Close your eyes and tune in again. Heart rate increases. Pulsing, energy, oxygen. Lymphatic fluid begins to flow. So these are great breaths to do in the morning. I always say that empty coat sleeves is yoga's cup of coffee. The agni breath is yoga's cup of coffee. So you can do it with anything. And again, you don't have to go jogging. You don't have to go swimming. You can see how we haven't been doing much of the breath, but how quickly it works to oxygenate the system and to give you energy. You can add it to anything. So now we just did the 6 major movements of the spine. And I like to say, if you only get one yoga move a day, it's this, empty coat sleeves. But if you can then go on and do lateral bend and then back bend and forward fold, great. Then you've done the 6 movements of the spine with the agni breath. That's a real wonderful beginning and pep talk for the body. Gets you energized for the day. So now we're going to add it to balance poses. Balance poses are really great because as we get older, balance is really vital. There's so many statistics out that when we get older, falling is really one of those things that changes our life and our life experience dramatically. So if you have or want a chair or a wall or a staircase near you, great. Or if you feel you can be on your own, great also. Very simply, take your right foot out in front of you. Roll onto your right foot and plant your right foot into the ground. Then you may or may not want something to be beside you. Inhale your left knee up to hip height. I'm going to turn slightly so you can see it. Now, I'm holding onto the chair. If possible, relax the elbows and the wrists. Now, with this simple balance pose, you're going to feel your body in a constant adjustment. The mind does not like a balance pose because you never have it. You have to constantly be vigilant. You have constant adjustments. Sometimes it's very subtle and sometimes it's really big. So find a way to be playful in your attitude. And now we're going to add the agni breath. We're going to do 10 knee lifts where we inhale and exhale it back down. So we're going for 10. Here we go. 5, 9 and 10. Set it down. Close your eyes. And probably your left hip flexor is singing out a bit. So take your left hand and bang your hip. Smack it with your hand. Great. And now for the other side. Take your left foot out in front of you. Roll onto your left foot, plant it into the ground, soft knee, and then inhale your right knee up to about hip height, if at all possible. Again, use a chair or a wall. And then, if possible, relaxed elbows and relaxed wrists. Lift your heart, let the shoulder blades come back. Just play with the balance. Your fascial net, that internal net system, is actually working really hard in communication, and people often sweat a lot in balance poses. And now we're going for 10 knee lifts with the breath. Here we go. Ha, 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 ha. 5, ha, ha. 9 and 10. Set it down. Take your right hand and bang on your hip flexor. Great. So, again, I'm showing you that this agni breath, which is the key to the whole system of our health and puts everything back into balance, can be done with any movement. Whenever you coordinate a movement with a breath, you're actually doing yoga. Yoga is a series of methodologies like that. And one of them is coordinated breath with movement makes a yoga move. So now we're going to do the agni breath with another move. With this one, very simple, you inhale your arms up above your head. And can't see my hands, so I'm going to move them here. You want to spread your fingers as wide as possible so you feel the stretch in your palms. There are acupuncture and acupressure points in the palms and the heart-lung meridians in the palms. And when you stretch them nice and wide, you open them up, like opening up your sinuses. So we inhale, reach, and exhale. The elbows come down to the ribs, and you can even use them to press out of it. So it's in through the nose, out through the mouth. We're going to start out slow and then we'll speed it up. And again, imagine that your lungs are like balloons. You want to blow up your balloons as much as possible. Most of us, as we get older, we tend to, number one, our diaphragm doesn't get used as much, so it tends to atrophy, just like any other muscle, and so it needs exercise. And also, our lung capacity decreases, so you really want to exercise those lungs as much as possible. This will inhale, pause at the top gently, and then exhale, the arms come down to the side. So here we go, together. Now slow it down. Now inhale as much as you can and hold your breath. Sip in a little bit more and hold. Sip in more and hold. And exhale, close your eyes, let your arms come down to the sides and feel into the energy that you've created. Again, oxygen coursing into the system and the tissues, immune system being boosted, endorphins being released, metabolism kicking in. And again, I would like to say, for those of you who have been doing these breaths, notice if you don't sleep a little deeper tonight, because this amount of oxygen actually really helps with sleep. And I know many of us deal with sleep. It also helps, of course, for anxiety too. If I was a business owner, there are so many people, because smokers, if you just imagine someone who smokes, they're breathing. And of course, if you're a smoker and you're at the job, it's appropriate to go out to the smoking lounge for 10 minutes every hour or more. And if I was a business owner with something like that, I would say, we got a breath lounge out there. And every 10 minutes every hour, everybody has to go out there and I am certain it would increase productivity, it would increase joy, it would increase creativity. So just see what it's like when you add it into your own life. Now, we're going to fire up the thighs a little bit and the core. With this, you can take it at any level you want. So you will inhale, a slight bend of the knees. You decide how much, depending upon your knees and quads, whatever you would like. And again, you can have a chair next to you. Well, inhale can be slight, or you can come down nice and deep. Inhale, reach, and exhale, ha. So here we go. Ha. 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 Couple more. Ha. And last one. Ha. One more time. Close your eyes and feel the effects. So, hopefully you've picked up the clue that agni breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth, this breath of fire, can be done with anything. And again, it can change your life. It is the key to keeping this whole system in balance. The diaphragm pumping up and down, your internal organs getting a good squish, great for digestion and keeping a healthy gut. And again, if you get a chance to YouTube the diaphragm and what happens to the internal organs, it's really so visual. Even just the simple breath of when you lay down at night, how the diaphragm goes up and down and massages all of the internal organs. But this deep diaphragmatic breathing is vital. So just ask yourself, when was the time that when was the last time that you breathed this deeply, even if you are someone who does an aerobic activity? So just to give a plug, on Saturday, the 28th of November, from 10 to noon, I'll be doing a workshop called The Power of Breath. And right now I just shared with you the agni breath. During that workshop, I'm going to share many more breaths. And with these breaths, or called pranayama, which means to practice playing with your life force, yama means to practice, and prana means your life force. There are breaths like the agni breath for energizing and uplifting and increasing heat. There are also breaths for calming, for cooling, for meditation, for presence, for reducing anxiety, for reducing flight-fright response, and for stress. So during that workshop, we're going to be learning many more breaths. Today, I just wanted to give you a little teaser about the power of agni breath, which, as I said, and I mean it, it could change the world. It could change people's attitudes. It could change people's health. Again, as I said in that program, people got off of antidepressants. They got off of diabetic medication. They got off of heart medication. Many things changed because of the chemical balance of pumping oxygen into the system. So we're going to wrap it up there. I would love to hear from you guys and see what you think about this, any questions that you have, and how you felt, and we can go from there. And if you've got any questions, I might add on some breath from that point also. So Jennifer, if you're listening, you're in charge of that piece. So let's see.
Yeah, actually, I'm here.
Okay, I can't see anything, so.
I'm just energized watching you. Yeah. So it would be great if it would be great with the group that we have. Everybody is on mute, and I can unmute anyone. I'm going to go ahead and change my view to gallery view. So I know there's some individuals that don't have their video on. But does anybody have any questions about some of these breath practices, or a question for Stephen related to a health issue and maybe how the breath can assist, or any question that comes up? Be brave. Well, I know who's going to be brave. Gordon. I am going to go ahead and unmute you. Or can you unmute yourself? There you go.
Hello?
Yes, Gordon.
I was just curious, we're on November 28th, where's the workshop?
Oh, it's here at the Sports Center. Jennifer, it's going to be out on the lawn, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have the entire workshop out at the pavilion. So that way, especially working with the breath, and you could see how Stephen's breathing that he's requiring you to do is really dynamic. And so you're gonna be able to spread out and not be feeling as if you have a problem doing this kind of breath work.
But I'd also like to say, Jennifer, that's a really good point. Anybody should come to this workshop. And so the breaths that we did today, and it's one of the reasons why I separated them, were really, as you said, very dynamic and required a lot of movement. The breaths during the workshop, you know, I'd suggest anybody to come. This isn't about having any kind of physical ability of any kind. And we're going to be learning breaths that really aid in meditation and calming the mind and soothing the parasympathetic nervous system. So, you know, everyone is welcome. You don't have to take part. You can listen. You can, you know, so it's really for anybody. I always say the workshop is good for anybody who breathes in and anybody who breathes out. So that's pretty much anybody.
There you go. Who else has any type of question or experience with any of those practices?
Is this recorded, Jennifer, that we could see
Yes.
it again?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Calendar. We did record this, so we will be sending it out, and people can revisit these practices.
And again, I would just like to say, if you challenged yourself and said, even just with the empty coat sleeves, I'm going to do empty coat sleeves every day for 7 days, okay? At some point in the morning, you know, after your coffee, I always say coffee and empty coat sleeves, really, really good. So if you do empty coat sleeves for 7 days, 5 minutes in the morning, you will be really surprised. And what I like to tell people is find a favorite song. Generally, a song is like 3 to 5 minutes. Put it on and just say to yourself for the whole song, I'm just going to be ha, ha, ha. And it'll totally wake you up and kick in your whole system.
All right. Anybody else?
Is there a time how long you can do this or should do it? Should it 5 or 10 minutes? There's an optimum time?
That's a really great question. And certainly, as you begin to practice, you're going to notice that your ability to do it really lengthens. So I notice that I, of course, do this breath and have done it for the past 40 years. So I can actually do it for extended periods of time and really vigorously. But I notice when I'm teaching, obviously that's not true for most of my students. So I certainly do it in smaller increments. But getting it started, you want to, as always, like in life, this isn't about comparing it to anybody else. This is about you finding your edge. And then you do the breath until it feels like, wow, I've really like reached some edges here. And then next time those edges are a little bit further, and next time the edges are a little bit further. So everybody's different. You want to experiment with it, but oxygen is a really good thing. And deep diaphragmatic pumping, a really good thing. So a little bit of it goes a long way, and a lot of it goes a really long way.
Michelle, nice to see you. Can you unmute yourself? Let me see if I can ask to unmute. Anything?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi. Hi. Nice to see you too. And thank you for this wonderful breathing workshop. I was just wondering, the one on Saturday that you'll be doing in a couple of weeks, will that be also filmed or not? Because we won't be able to attend in person.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
That one will not be recorded or filmed. That's a little bit of a different animal than this. So, yeah.
But we're glad we could attend to this one. So thank you for doing the Zoom.
Me too. Yep. Yeah, Zoom has some advantages.
How are we feeling? Gloria?
Hi, Stephen. Hi, Steve.
Hi.
Thanks for all this great information. I know you explained it a little bit, and I understand the importance of breathing and deep breaths and how it's related to meditation and not an expert, but the basics. But why is it exactly that it revs up your metabolism or contributes to potential weight loss if that's what you're looking for? I mean, I know why an aerobic type exercise would do it, but why would the breathing alone with just, the movement of the arms or legs do that?
Right. And actually, the aerobic, if you said, you understand why an aerobic exercise would do it, why do you think an aerobic exercise helps the metabolism?
Oh, okay. I think it's what you said at the beginning. It pumps up your heart. It makes your heart work faster. And this does too, because when you had us close our eyes and rest, I could feel my body differently. So
Yes, but the heart pumping faster doesn't switch your metabolism. What switches the metabolism is when the oxygen content in your blood changes. Literally, those blood cells start moving around and eating everything up, and they change the chemical composition and they turn on your metabolism. It just increases your heat, which starts to burn stuff up. And that's what your metabolism is it's the heat in your body that starts to burn stuff up, and when your motor is low, so breath and oxygen are what get the motor going. When your motor is low, you're using less gas, which is really, again, what kicks in the metabolism.
thank you.
Yeah, and again, if you literally were to see blood that's highly oxygenated, it's got energy, and blood that lacks oxygen is sluggish and dull. And again, you just have to go like, wow, I feel like that, because, that's what's going on inside of me. And wow, I feel like that, because that's what's going on inside of me. So, and oxygen is the key. In hospitals, they put people who are burn victims in hyperbaric chambers. A hyperbaric chamber is a chamber that simulates going deep down into the water, like being brought hundreds of feet down into the water, and it pressurizes the system. And what it does is it pressurizes and presses oxygen into the cells and into the tissues. And as a result, burn victims heal 10 times faster because of the oxygen. And because burns are some of the most, painful, highest pain that a person can have, they put burn victims in there. However, there's been great success with cell regeneration, people with Parkinson's, people with MS, people with dementia, also going into hyperbaric chambers where cell regeneration has happened as a result of, again, oxygen content. So sort of interesting.
That was my next question. I was going to ask you was what your feeling about the hyperbaric chamber was, but you've answered it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. I mean, it promotes healing. And again, the key is oxygen. And for me, what I find interesting is, again, with the oxygen content in the environment being so low, I'm convinced that it's the result of why we have so many people with depression, so much drugs and alcohol, such low immune systems, So again, even, using today's world of COVID, why is it that one person's immune system, battles this COVID with ease and another person's immune system, and it becomes a deadly disease?
Right.
It's certainly something that should interest us.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And oxygen's the key. So it's interesting how the brain, every day, and like I said, I've been doing this for 40 days, and every day I wake up and my brain goes, oh, geez, I'm too tired to do empty coat sleeves. You've got to be kidding. And then I start, and right away I'm like, okay, my spine feels okay. So first I just get the spine going, and then I begin. And I'm telling you, within a few short breaths, I'm going, what was I thinking? That feels so good. I'm awake. I'm energized. But the mind is fascinating, how much resistance we have to breathing. And another reason for that is this. I always like to say, if you want to not feel something, what do? Mostly we hold our breath. Okay. So when people don't want to feel something, your boss is yelling at you, you know, your spouse is, you know, angry, you know, we hold our breath, we tighten and we contain it. And in today's stressful world, we have a lot of people walking around barely breathing, holding their breath. The levels of stress that we live under, because this world is so complex, more complex than it's ever been, you know, just driving down the street is stressful. So our stress levels are really high, our breath is really shallow, and we have to relearn how to breathe to keep, you know, our immune systems really, really boosted here.
Thank you.
Yeah, my hope is, of course, to just inspire everybody to breathe, because I literally could say, you know, if, you know, looking back on my life, I could say, you know, breathing, it's been the best thing. It's been the healthiest thing that I have ever done. You know, believe it or not, I'm not a huge exerciser. So, okay, you know, I'm 64 and I would blame the breath, you know, for any health that I have.
Well said. Well said.
You know?
All right.
So I do hope that you come to Saturday. That would be really wonderful. Again, we'll get into deeper breaths, and because we'll be in person, we'll be able to interact, which really is, you know, helpful for me. And I really, of course, love to meet the needs of the people who come. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring your spouses. And also, I would like to say on Sunday, the following day from 9 to 10, I'll be subbing Shireen's yoga class. And that too will be out on the lawn. So I would love to see you there also. And definitely during that yoga class, we'll be doing some of this agni breath to begin with. So that will help plant it in as a practice.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen, so much for the invitation. Thank